All right. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the lower speeds class. I was waiting just to see if anybody wanted to pop in. Maybe everyone is maybe running behind a little bit, but we're at 5:04, so we'll go ahead and get started. And oh, there's Robin. Hello, Robin. Your hair looks cute today.
Oh, thank you. I curled it today.
Very cute. I love it.
Thanks.
Well, how's your day going?
It's been going along, little by little. I think hubby and I are gonna sneak out here in like 40 minutes and go grab a bite to eat. So
Oh, good.
yeah.
Oh, good. Well,
So
you
I'm
look
like,
adorable.
so I'm like, I'll be here for like 40 minutes and then
Okay. Then you're gonna head out. Well, you look adorable.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Well, all right. Well, we'll get started so you can
Okay.
get as much in as possible. Okay.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right. You're welcome. I'll see you soon. All right. Here we go. We'll start off with common words. Ready? Happen, apply, requirements, exchange, 30, waiting, period, association, territory, notes, couple, walk, warm, reporters, station, neither, representative, pictures, none, February, member, itself, occasion, minute, somewhat, where, extremely, forwarding, instance. All right, and you may not know this, you may already know it, I'm not sure, but member is MEM. Okay, all right. Moving right into common phrases. Now you're going to hear marked for identification, that's MOID, MOID. You're going to hear, oh, I went through some of these and I kind of wrote out the ones that I like to phrase, but if it's too confusing, then don't do it, okay? If he can is FEK, FEK, and it doesn't conflict with anything, but you have to kind of know what it is, you know? And then the recall is final RL. So like if he recalls, I write it as FERL, and then, recalls, I come back for final Z. If he recollects, I write it as FE final RK, come back for final Z. If he remembers, FER, come back for final Z. If he was, FE final FS. If I believe, FIBL. If I believed, same thing, but I just come back for final D. If I can, FIK. If I feel, FIFL. If I recall, FIRL. If I recollect, FIRK. So there's no U's in here. So the only thing you have to be careful with is you can't phrase if you can, because obviously it's going to conflict with the bad word. So unless you flag one of those. All right, so here we go. Ready? I would say, marked for identification, if he believed, if he believes, if he can, if he could, if he feels, if he felt, if he recalls, if he recollects, if he remembers, if he should, if he wanted, if he wants, if he was, if I believe, if I believed, if I can, if I could, if I feel, if I felt, if I recall, if I recollect, if I want, if I wanted. All right. Moving right into a paragraph that is a phrase review. I'm going to read this once at 60, again at 100, and again at, or I'm sorry, once at 60, once at 80, and one at 100, okay? You're going to hear she will on the, that is, we will, are you, if you are, will you please, which is LUP, there are, there is, up the, to the, we will, if you. All right, here we go. Ready? She will be on the United flight that is due to arrive at 10 o'clock. We will arrive on the American Airlines flight at 7 o'clock. Are you planning to meet the planes? If you are, will you please be sure that the car is parked near the main gate? There are 4 suitcases, and there is also 1 large bag to pick up. You will save time if you pick up the bags first and then proceed to the flight deck. We will look forward to seeing you and your family and having a long and relaxing vacation with friends. All right, so we'll read that again at 80. Here we go. She will be on the United flight that is due to arrive at 10 o'clock. We will arrive on the American Airlines flight at 7 o'clock. Are you planning to meet the planes? If you are, will you please be sure that the car is parked near the main gate? There are 4 suitcases, and there is also 1 large bag to pick up. You will save time if you pick up the bags first and then proceed to the flight deck. We will look forward to seeing you and your family and having a long and relaxing vacation with friends. All right, so last one at 100. Here we go. She will be on the United flight that is due to arrive at 10 o'clock. We will arrive on the American Airlines flight at 7 o'clock. Are you planning to meet the planes? If you are, will you please be sure that the car is parked near the main gate? There are 4 suitcases, and there is also 1 large bag to pick up. You will save time if you pick up the bags first and then proceed to the flight deck. We will look forward to seeing you and your family and having a long and relaxing vacation with friends. All right, so moving right into a drill. We've got words that end with ing. So I'm going to give you the words first and then I'll read you the sentences, okay? suing, testifying, arresting, writing, saying, helping, calling, telling, losing, failing, driving, buying. All right, and then testifying is just TEF. So you can either come back for the G or, put it all in one stroke. All right, here are your sentences. Ready? Jake is suing the company for damages. He is suing his wife for divorce. The arresting officer is present. He was in the process of arresting a suspect. Are you helping at the Friday night potluck? Stacy is helping to serve. After testifying, he left the courtroom. Are you testifying on Tuesday? Was he riding his bike? He was riding his motorcycle. They are saying he is guilty. Are you saying he is out of town? We have been calling her every day. They will be calling Mrs. Smith to testify. Was Sam telling the truth? I'm telling you the truth. He is losing the election. She is losing weight. Are you failing history? I am not failing any of my classes. Was Tom driving the car? My family is driving to the East Coast in August. He is buying a new car on Wednesday. Are you buying a house in the city or a house in the suburbs? All right. Moving right into a number drill. And those sentences that I just read to you were read at 80. Okay. All right. So moving right into a number drill. So let me give you the numbers. They're measurements. Okay. 4.5 feet. 729 feet. 718 feet. 9 1/4 feet. 6 3/4 inches. 17 feet. 2 inches. 8 1/8 inches. 52 feet. 9 inches. All right, so here are your sentences. Ready? The boards were measured. Type A was 3 feet, 2 inches long. Type B was 6 feet, 4 inches long. Type C was 7 feet, 1 inch long. We then measured the steel pipes. 3 of them were 4 feet long with a diameter of 2.5 inches. 4 pipes were 5 feet long with a diameter of 13 1/4 inches. 5 of the pipes were 12 feet long with a diameter of 3 1/8 inches. In our order, we requested that all the boards be at least 3 feet 2 inches in length, and that the pipes would be at least 4 feet 2 inches long with a diameter of 2 inches or more. And just a reminder, if somebody says and a half, you can use the brief NAF for and a half. Okay. All right. So let's got a couple more drills. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we're doing okay. All right. These are going to be word families. You're going to hear everything, something, anything, nothing, everybody, nobody, anybody, somebody, anyone, someone, everyone, no one. And then I write no one as just N-O, come back for W-U-N. I don't really have a brief for it because if you do N-O-N, that's none. So that doesn't really work. All right, so here are your sentences. Here we go. Is everything all right? Everything is ready for the party. There is something missing from the safe. Do you have something that will stop the bleeding? Is there anything we can do for you? There isn't anything left in the freezer. It seems like nothing ever works. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Everybody has a driver's license. And the brief for that is just initial D, final L. Is everybody in their seats? Nobody at the house answers the telephone. And that's TEFL. There is nobody to blame but yourself. Is anybody home? Is anybody available to take the deposition? Will somebody please call an ambulance? Somebody left the door open. Is anyone interested in the product? Would anyone be willing to go to the store for me? Someone called the doctor at 5:45 a.m. The teacher asked someone to close the door. Everyone is ready for a vacation. Is everyone capable of completing the assignment? No one is in the meeting room at the present time. And the brief for at the present time is TEPT. All right. I love that drill because there's so often we get those small words mixed up, because they're all so close together. All right, so let's see here. How are you doing on time? I think we'll start. I had another drill, but that's okay. We're gonna just call it a day on the drills and go ahead and start our literary. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give you some terms and then read your paragraph. Okay. I'm going to read this once at 80 and again at 100. So you're going to hear complaint, petition. There is a brief for it. It's PIGS, like petition, declaration, documents. I don't have any briefs for those. Acknowledgement, double, backs, jeopardy, offense, authenticity. I don't have a brief for that. Sorry. Tribunal, instruments. I usually write for instrument, STRUMT. Adjudication. Again, no brief for that. Sorry. Endorsement, and notary public. And again, I usually write out notary public, but I don't know why you couldn't do something like NP, initial N, final P. I always write it out though, so it's totally up to you. All right, here's your paragraph, and I'll read this at 80. The complaint in a lawsuit may be referred to as a petition, a bill, or a declaration. Each charge in the complaint is known as a count. A court of law is also called a tribunal. The adjudication of a case takes place in a court of law. Double jeopardy means being tried for the same offense more than once. A notary public certifies the authenticity of documents and instruments. The endorsement is written on the back of a legal document. An acknowledgement usually appears at the bottom of a legal document. The covers for legal documents are called legal backs. All right, so I'll read this one more time at 100. And there was something that we went through, and I was thinking, more than. You can write more than as MORN. And then if you ever have like mourn, I'm going to mourn that loss, you could do that as a long O. Okay, or MOURN for mourn. And then mourn, like morning, would be M long O. Okay, all right, here we go. The complaint in a lawsuit may be referred to as a petition, a bill, or a declaration. Each charge in the complaint is known as a count. A court of law is also called a tribunal. The adjudication of a case takes place in a court of law. Double jeopardy means being tried for the same offense more than once. A notary public certifies the authenticity of documents and instruments. The endorsement is written on the back of a legal document. An acknowledgement usually appears at the bottom of a legal document. The covers for legal documents are called legal backs. All right. I'm going to give you one more piece of literary. Let me give you a word list, and then I'll read this at 80. Okay. All right. So you're going to hear epidemic, proportion, shoplifting, distraught, merchants, unique, confused, deterrent, prosecution, which is initial PR, final GS, impoverished, professional, security, electronic, observers, sensors. All right, so I will read this at 80. Here we go. In today's fast-paced world, merchants face a unique problem, which is almost at epidemic proportions. The problem of controlling and protecting against shoplifting. The shoplifter is not always a professional thief. He may be a distraught and confused housewife a frustrated teenager, or an impoverished elderly person. Sometimes the shoplifter actually works for the store he is stealing from. In most states, legal prosecution against shoplifters can be a major deterrent to the problem, but the biggest deterrent is the careful selection of security personnel who are trained observers and can prevent the act of shoplifting before it occurs. Shoplifting is now being curtailed in many businesses through the use of electronic sensors and specialized marking and pricing techniques. All right, moving right into jury charge. Let me give you, these are closing statements. I'm going to give you a word list, and I'll give you some optional briefs if you want to use them, okay? Homicide is H-O-M, hom. Home obviously is a long O. Quarrel, K-W-A-R-L, it's like a squeeze. Offense, O-F-N-S. Murder, M-U-R-D. Manslaughter is malt, M-A-L-T. If you have malt, you could use the broad A. Felonious is F-L-O-I-S. I always think of Flois, F-L-O-I-S. Character, K-H-A-R-K, Kark. Provocation, P-R-O-V-G-S. Degree is D-R-E. Average, A-F-R-J. It's kind of like a squeeze. Let's see, deliberation. There's two ways to write that, either D-L-I-B-G-S or I write it as D-L long A-G-S, dilation. That's how I write it. But I know I always write little notes if somebody else says, oh, I write it this way. Somebody once told me they write it as D-L-I-B-G-S. But that, to me, that's a cushion word. So that's up to you. Let's see here. Standard, S-T final D. Situation is suation, S-W long A shun. Ordinarily, O-R-L-D. Reasonable, R-A-E-N-L, or you can write it as R final N-L. You have a choice there. I like to write it as R-A-E-N-L. Reasonably, I would just come back for long E. Obviously, O-F-L. Then you're also going to hear aider and abettor. Oscar Mullen. Okay. You're going to hear, let's see here, intentional, heat of passion, quick-tempered person. All right. Self-defense. Here we go. I'll read this at 80. The court is going to instruct you that to reduce an intentional, felonious homicide from the offense of murder to manslaughter upon the ground of sudden quarrel or heat of passion, the provocation must be of such character and degree as would naturally excite and arouse passion. The term heat of passion is defined for you as follows. Such passion as naturally would be aroused in the mind of an ordinary, reasonable person, or of average disposition in the same or similar circumstances as those in question, and such as would cause him to act rashly without reflection and deliberation, and from passion rather than judgment. What that instruction means is that the defendant cannot set up his own standard. If he is a quick-tempered person and there is some form of provocation that leads him to believe that self-defense is necessary, it is not his standard that we judge it by. We judge it by what an ordinarily reasonable person would do in the same situation. The court will tell you that if there was a provocation that was of a nature not calculated to naturally arouse such passion, if an unlawful killing of a human being allows such a provocation and has all the elements of murder, then the mere fact of slight or remote provocation will not reduce the offense to manslaughter. What was argued to you was that Oscar Mullen reached for the knife and suddenly he felt threatened by it. This is provocation on the part of Bruce Nixon, and because of Oscar Mullen's reaction to this, there is a sudden quarrel. A heat of passion takes over. Mullen didn't premeditate and deliberate. He can't be guilty of murder. Therefore, Harley Bennett cannot be guilty of murder as an aider and abettor under these theories. It is our contention that obviously there was no heat of passion. There may have been a distinct element of fear in the mind of Oscar Mullen, but that is covered by the next instruction. Neither the emotion of fear of itself nor the emotion for revenge of itself toward others constitute the heat of passion referred to in the law. You can have a combination of all of them, and you can have that or any one of them. But the court tells you that any one or more of them, meaning fear or revenge, may exist in the mind of a person who acts deliberately. All right. And then just so you know, you might want to write this down if you don't know it. Murder in the first degree is initial M, final FD, murder in the first degree. Murder in the second degree is initial M, final KD. Okay, so murder in the first degree, M, final FD. Murder in the second degree, initial M, final KD. Okay, all right, so let's get on to Q&A. All right, so we're going to go ahead and this is going to be plaintiff questioning. Okay. All right, so we're going to read, I'll read this at, let's see. Oh, hi, Nora. I just realized you were here too. Okay. Oh, yes. So murder in the first degree is initial M, final FD. Murder in the second degree is initial M, final KD. And to be honest with you, I never used these. I always wrote them out because I could never remember it, but I did write it in my book. So I wanted to pass it along, and obviously it'll be up to you guys if you want to use it. Okay. And then misdemeanor, I write that as MIFD. I do use that, misdemeanor, MIFT. All right, so let's go ahead and read this at, I'll read this at 80 and then work my way to 100, okay? All right, here we go. At the time of your deposition, I believe you said that you had testified in 2 cases prior to that time as an expert. Is that correct? That is correct. And is that also correct today? In terms of testimony in court, that is correct. One of those was testimony about an oil well rig involving some mechanical failure. That is correct. And the other was a plumbing situation, a missile launcher. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am, that's correct. At the time of your deposition, you had experience at that time or were working on 3 automobile cases. Is that correct? I believe that is correct. How many of those involved single car accidents? None involved single car accidents. One involved an auto pedestrian accident. Were you asked to reconstruct the accident? Yes, I was. I believe you said one defense firm had called you in relation to a bus accident. That is correct. You had done no work on it? No, the case hadn't started yet, as far as I was concerned. Doctor, prior to April, had you ever conducted any accident reconstruction tests? Not with respect to automobiles. Your work has been primarily limited to aircraft and spacecraft, and other technologies. When your deposition was taken, had you looked at a couple of other things, documents, that were made at the university in relation to accident reconstruction? At that time, it was not to prepare me to testify in court here. All right, but since March 7, when your deposition was taken, how many hours have you put in on this case? I can't give you an exact number. I don't have my timesheets with me. It must be on the order of 100. You have billed for that time? We have billed for everything up to April. I don't think we sent a bill since then. At the time of your deposition, you had put in about 90 hours of work. Is that correct? That could be. You know better than I do. Doctor, insofar as this case is concerned, when were you first called on it? I believe the last week in January was the first time I heard of the case. At that time, were you furnished a copy of Mr. Carter's report? I was furnished many documents. That one was one of them. And were you furnished pictures at that time that Mr. Carter had taken? Yes, I was. Were you furnished the parts that you have here in court? I was furnished several of those parts that we have in court. I don't know whether I was furnished all of them. Were you furnished the wheel and tire? I did not see those until they were here in court. I think I saw them for a couple of minutes, a couple of weeks ago, before they were here in court. Insofar as the parts that you were furnished at that time, can you tell me what parts you were given? Yes, I was given the power steering pump bracket. Did you ever see any spacer that was mounted with a bracket? No. What part of the automobile received the major impact damage? All I know is what I have seen in those pictures. Where do you determine that to be? Just casually looking at the pictures, there appears to be major damage on the right. The entire front appears to be damaged. Was the frame pushed to the right in the front end? I don't know how I could tell that by looking at those pictures. The camera was at a funny angle and I couldn't see that very well. All right. So I started at 80, worked my way up to 100. I keep wanting to write 9 on everything. It's hard to believe we're in October. I've got another transcript for you. All right. This is going to be defense questioning. Okay. All right, so you're going to hear Colorado Springs, Garage, which is G-A-R-J, Garge, Denver, Realty, Fireplace, Swimming, Anderson, Stevens, Multiple, Bath, Bedroom, let's see, Lori, Pool, Exterior, Patio, Lawsuit, Multiple, Jacuzzi, Pueblo, Interior. I think that's about it. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is going to be defense. Again, I'm going to start at 80, work my way up to 100. Okay, all right, here we go. Ready? Now, we are here with regard to a lawsuit that basically arises out of the sale of some property that you owned in the Colorado Springs area. Right. First of all, and that is FRAUL, fraul. Okay. First of all, do you recall the particular transaction that we are here about today? Yes. When was that sale? Oh, let me see. Approximately in 2007. Do you recall basically the month? I can't. No, I don't remember. Do you remember whether it was in the summer or the fall, the winter? It was in the winter. And where was the property located? It was located in Colorado Springs. Do you remember what street it was on? Palm Road. Do you by chance remember the address? Yes, sir. What is it? 2491. No, 2493. Now, how long had you owned this particular property before you placed it up for sale? Approximately 4 years. And can you give me a basic description of the interior of the house? It was a 5-bedroom, 2-bath home. How many square feet did it have? Approximately 3,000. Did it have a garage? Of course it did. And was it a 2-car or a 3-car garage? Okay, 3-car garage. Did it have a family room and a living room? Yes, it had a living room and family room. And did it have a fireplace? Yes, sir, 2 fireplaces. And as far as the exterior, were there any improvements, such as a swimming pool or anything of that nature? Improvements were a patio cover, some brick work in the backyard, a 38-foot pool, and jacuzzi. Had you done that work yourself, or did you have it contracted? I had it done. Who did you list the property with for sale? Greater Denver Realty. And was there any particular person that you listed it with? Lori Anderson. How did you come to list the property with Mrs. Anderson? Well, I'm trying to think. Let's see. I believe Lori's card was left on our front door. And I also knew Lori through a friend that I went to school with. Go ahead. I went to school with a friend who gave me Lori's card and number. We were able to reach her through her office. We bought our home through Lori. When we were ready to resell, we asked Lori for her assistance. I see. Do you remember what the purchase price of the residence was? $598,000 approximately. And what was the residence listed for at the time it was sold in 2007? I believe it was $475,000. And do you recall whether it was placed on a multiple listing? Yes, it was a multiple listing. How many days was the residence on the market before it was sold? 3 days. And what was the selling price, Mr. Stevens? Do you remember? $471,900 to be exact. All right, so about halfway through, I picked it up to 100. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, good, we have about 5 more minutes, so I'll go ahead and read a little bit more. Okay. All right. This is going to be plaintiff questioning. All right. And I'll go ahead and read this at 100. Okay. You're going to hear subsequently, and you can write that as SKWENT, and then just come back for either LAE or L long E, squintly, or subsequently. Okay. All right. This is going to be plaintiff. Here we go. Ready? When you fell on August 15, did you fall on the carpeted surface or on the tile floor of the Florida building? On the tile floor. Did you have any physical complaints at the time of your fall? A slight headache. Anything else? No, not that I remember. How did you leave the place where the accident occurred? I called my office and someone picked me up. Where did you go following this? To the office. At some time following the accident, did you begin to have other physical complaints? Yes, on the following day. What type of complaint did you have at that time? Some back pain. Where was the back pain located? In my lower back. Would you describe that as a sharp pain or a dull pain? It was initially a sharp pain. When is the first time that you sought any medical treatment? I think the following day. Whom did you first see? Dr. James Daly in Miami. Had you previously seen Dr. Daly? Yes. When Dr. Daly examined you that day, did he give you a diagnosis or explain to you what was causing your pain? He did not. Did he give you any treatment at that time? He sent me for x-rays. After you had x-rays, did you see him again? Yes, I did. At that time, did he give you any diagnosis or explain to you what was causing your pain? He said he was unable to explain the pain and that the x-rays showed no visible damage. Did you subsequently treat with other doctors? Yes. Who else did you see? Dr. Martin Long in Tampa. Who referred you to Dr. Long? I had seen Dr. Long before. Was Dr. Long able to explain to you what was causing your pain? No, not at that time. Did you continue to have this low back pain and headaches when you saw Dr. Long? Yes, I did. How long did the headaches last? 3 weeks, a month. It was one continuous headache. It never left me. So it was constantly there for 3 weeks to a month? Yes. Have you been bothered by any headaches since that went away? Not since it finally went away, no. Have you treated with any other doctors besides Dr. Daly and Dr. Long since the day of this accident? Dr. Richard Baker. Had you treated with Dr. Baker before? No. Who referred you to him? Carol Ross. Is she a friend of yours? Yes, she is. Do you remember approximately when you first started treating with Dr. Baker? When I couldn't get rid of the back pain. Well, was that within, let's say, 6 months from when the accident occurred, or a year? I believe so. Which one? 6 months to a year, somewhere in there. Somewhere in that time frame, 6 months to a year from the day of the accident, you saw Dr. Baker? Yes. How frequently were you treating with Dr. Baker when you first went to him? Initially, a couple times a week. So for what period of time did you treat with him for a couple times a week? I guess that went on for about a month. Did you notice any improvement? Yes. After approximately a month, did your treatments lessen at that time? Yes. How often did you go after that? It's kind of a spasmodic thing now. My back still bothers me, and I go to him when it gets worse. When was the last time you saw Dr. Baker? Probably 2 months ago. Why did you see him at that time? My back was bothering me a little more than usual. Did he treat you at that time? He did. What type of treatment did he give to you? Specifically, I can't tell you. I do remember heat manipulation, stretching exercises, and massage. How much is your total bill with Dr. Baker at this time? I would estimate approximately $2,800. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you. How is that?
Pretty good.
Good. Very good. Well, how was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was great actually. I think I passed my 180 literary.
Good.
So yeah, so I just
Oh, that's so
I just have
awesome.
I just have the 180 Q&A left.
Yay,
Yeah.
that's so awesome. That's great. You're going to be done before you know it, especially
Yeah.
because you practice so much, you know?
Uh-huh.
All your hard work's going to pay off.
Yeah. Do you know when the next what is
This, are you talking about the state test?
yeah.
I heard that it's going to be on December 1st.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you're talking about the machine. Let me just make sure if that makes sense. Let's see, September, October, November. We have a student that's going to take it. She just passed her RPR and now she's going to the test, Donna.
Wow.
And she said that makes sense. That's a Friday. It's always on a Friday. So Friday, December 1st, and it's up in Sacramento.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know when the deadline is, but are you gonna? So you're gonna take your RPR, and
Uh,
if you miss the December 1st date, the next one would be March. Yeah. Yep. So and then of course they have their deadlines, but I'm sure if you went on their webpage, if you just Googled it, it would tell you right then, like, deadlines and all of that, because she just passed her Q&A. She just found out, I think it was last week, and sent in all her stuff, and now she's going to go to the state test. So
yeah, nice.
Yes, abs. And if you would like to, ask her any questions, because she's, done the procedure recently, let me know, and I can always ask her if I can, give her your number. Or
Yeah, okay.
give you her number if you have questions for her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I can't think of any right now, but yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. She's very sweet.
Oh.
So, all right. Well, I will do that. And then, are you planning on coming on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll see if I'll ask her then. Definitely pass her number on to you if she says that's okay.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, have a great night, Nora.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, bye.